Hello, my name is Deborah, and I'm a leader with the Sisterhood of the Rose Planetary Network. Today, I once again have the pleasure to speak with Cobra. Cobra is the chief intel provider for the Resistance Movement, where he offers important planetary and galactic information at his blog, 2012portal.blogspot.com. Welcome, Cobra, and thank you for doing this interview.
Thank you for the invitation. It's really a great opportunity to deepen our connection with a portal which is coming very soon.
Yes. This very important portal. I know we have a lot to talk about, but this portal of light activation is of primary importance, and along with the global mass meditation that will be taking place during this alignment on May 1st of 2023 coming up. So we've actually decided to do this interview in two parts. The first part that we are doing today will focus primarily on discussing this very important portal of light activation. And then next month, for the second part, we will discuss the results of this activation as well as many other topics of interest to people. So let's get started. Cobra, you have stated that this portal of light activation will bring the energies of the age of Aquarius to the next level, and that this is literally the most powerful activation of our lifetime. So to start out, would you please explain to our audience what exactly is the portal of light activation?
Okay, this is, I would say, the first major step that we are taking towards our final liberation. Everything until now was just preparation. Everything until now was just a rehearsal. But now we are getting into some serious activity from the galactic central sun. We are getting into some serious shifting of the cosmic cycles. And this is, I would say, the first real step that we are taking right now. So this is energetically going to be huge. It's going to set the course of the liberation process for this planet on a much higher level.
Wow. You've mentioned that this activation comes at the moment of the completion of a very powerful cycle. Is this the current cosmic cycle of 13 billion years that you've previously written about that will be coming to an end? And if so, what does that mean?
No, it's another cycle that I'm not, it's not the purpose to talk about. So it's not this cosmic cycle. There is another cycle which is ending basically a few days before May 1st.
Interesting. Okay. So you've indicated that this activation is a demarcation point when the energy from the galactic center will finally begin to flow toward the surface of the planet with great force, which is wonderful to hear. And now that we understand that at the time of the event, it will be Source who sends the solar flash through our galactic center. But for this initial flow of energy from the galactic center on May 1st, is it also Source initiating it? Will our planet be able to receive and be in contact with the Source energy for the very first time?
Okay, the Source will initiate this energy, but then it will be downgraded and downplayed to the level that this planetary environment can accept and absorb. So we are not at the point yet to receive energies directly from the Source, but this is actually a good step towards that.
Okay, so it will be like a buffered energy.
Yes.
Okay. Our last big mass meditation was the divine intervention activation that took place on the December 2021 solstice, in which we meditated for divine intervention and first contact with benevolent galactic beings. So, did the success of that meditation have anything to do with the opening of this immense energetic portal on May 1st? Or what about the monthly full moon meditations that we continue to do for divine intervention? Are they helping to create this powerful flow of energy that we are about to experience? Because it sure feels like there could be some divine intervention taking place.
Okay, the divine intervention activation in December 2021 was actually the third in the row of meditations that they're preparing for the initialization of the age of Aquarius. And the astrological positioning for the activation in December 2021 is in a way similar to what we're going to experience now, and we're already experiencing it. So this is another step deeper into deactivating the age of Aquarius. So all that was just preparation for what we are experiencing now. All those meditations, all three of those activations for the age of Aquarius and all the full moon meditations since then were preparing us for this step. And the conditions for the direct divine intervention need to be ready. The situation needs to be safe. Situation needs to be balanced enough, and this hasn't happened yet. But we're getting closer to that.
Okay, good. Well, we like the idea of getting closer to all of that. Since the flash of cosmic love energies for this portal of light activation will be much more powerful than the flash which reached the Earth from the M87 galaxy during the ion portal activation in 2013, and also the flash which happened during the final Age of Aquarius activation in 2020, what can people expect to feel during and after this activation, especially for those who are meditating? Is it possible that powerful emotional healing and energetic healing will occur during this meditation?
Each person meditating will have his or her own individual experience, which will be quite different based on their level of involvement, based on their personality structure and level of readiness to receive such energies. And some people might experience quite powerful emotional, spiritual, and healing situations and experiences. And some people have already experienced that in the past activations, and this time it is expected to be even stronger because the flash, which happens exactly during the activation, is expected to be stronger.
Okay. Now, already a year ago, in one of your posts, you alluded to the opening of a huge energy portal on the surface of the planet that would take place in late April, early May of 2023, indicating at that time that it will definitely be the strongest energetic event in the last few decades. So will the strength of this event, this flash, is it possible that it could create a Carrington-type event, which we understand to be a massive geomagnetic storm? Could that occur during this May 1st activation, or could any other physical effects be witnessed?
At this point, it is expected this to be just an energetic event. There are no expectations for physical manifestation like a Carrington event. Actually, a Carrington-type event would not be welcome at this point. It's not the highest purpose for this to happen. And the light forces are still buffering the activity of the sun to a certain degree with the Dyson spheres, because a Carrington-type event right now would take down the electrical grid, would take down the internet, and this is not what the light forces want at this point.
Mm-hmm. Are those Dyson spheres, are they completed yet? I know they were initiated.
They are completed.
They're completed. Okay, good
Yes.
to know. Okay. You've indicated that this pulse will actually create an energetic upgrade for the whole planet. Will this energetic upgrade finally dissolve the black hole quantum anomaly around Earth and reactivate the ascension process for this planet through the positive spiritual energy from the Buddhic plane? What type of cleansing will this energy do?
Okay, I am not allowed to speak about the direct effects of this energy on the different exotic technologies, but definitely after the activation, I will issue a report of what has happened and what has been cleared. But definitely this energy will clear a lot of anomaly, a lot of negative technologies, a lot of what has been here for thousands and thousands of years. A lot of quarantine structure which has been in place for the last 26,000 years, a lot of that will be removed.
Wow, fantastic. Okay, good. Does this mean that the Tachyons present in large numbers in space will finally be able to surge massively inside our atmosphere until they reach the surface population, improving the energetic well-being of humans to some extent? Is this precisely the energetic updating of the planet you're talking about, or that at least you can tell us about at this time?
Okay, the tachyons will not be able to reach the surface of the planet yet, because the tachyons will only be able to completely reach the surface of the planet at the moment of the event, when the last remnant of the veil is removed.
Okay. Will there be any upgrade because of this activation with tachyon chambers or using tachyonized products?
Yes, tachyon chambers will receive an upgrade. They will become more powerful, more effective. Also, tachyon products that will be tachyonized after that moment will be, actually, it will be an upgrade for all the tachyonized technology.
Oh, good. Okay, good to know. Does the portal light activation initiate the true terminal process of purification of anomalies leading to apoptostasis? I think I've said that right. Which is the moment when all quantum and subquantum anomaly will be cleared and all evil consciousness either transformed into the light or annihilated in the central sun. In other words, the event. Would you say this is like a pre-event?
Okay, I would say this is a trigger, which it is a demarcation point. It's a trigger which ends a certain phase, a certain cycle, and actually initiates, I would say, the last phase before the event.
Okay. Okay, good. Now, for the first time in the history of global meditations, the critical mass to be reached is not the determining criterion for the cosmic energy pulse to reach the planet's surface. For, as you've said, whether the critical mass is reached or not, these ultra-powerful energies from the galactic center will reach the surface of the planet anyway, which actually shows the extent of this impulse. But nevertheless, it is essential that we absolutely reach the necessary critical mass of 144,000 people meditating on that day in order to anchor this incoming energy in a balanced way to ensure the fastest and most harmonious transition for the planet and to create the energetic upgrade. Now, without critical mass, the power of these energies can manifest in a much more chaotic and disharmonious way. So the critical mass determines how this energy is going to be anchored on the surface of the planet, either in a balanced way or in a disharmonious way. And we naturally want it to be anchored in the most balanced way possible, both for the operations of the light forces and for the safety and well-being of the surface population. So, Cobra, would you elaborate a bit more about the impacts of reaching critical mass or the consequences if we do not?
Okay, if we reach the critical mass, as I said before, we will have a much more harmonious transition. It will actually accelerate also the transition itself. So I would say with reaching the critical mass, we will be on the optimal timeline. If we do not reach the critical mass, we will have more chaos, which will reflect both in geopolitical situations, it will reflect in financial markets, it will reflect in individual life situations of people on the surface of the planet.
Okay, well that right there is motivation to meditate on the 1st of May. 20 minutes of your time is very well worth it, I would say. And, of course, spread the word, of course. So when we meditate for the Portal of Light activation on May 1st, will we serve as breakthrough energy transmitters at the time of activation so that these ultra-powerful energies from the galactic center can reach the surface in a most balanced and harmonious way?
Exactly. This is a very good description of what will happen.
Okay, good. We are those energy transmitters. What are your suggestions of how we might prepare ourselves for this to be the most effective?
Okay, I would say the most important thing is to make sure that you will not be disturbed, that you have create a safe and sacred space for this meditation, and of course to spread the word to reach as many people as possible.
Okay. Absolutely. You had also mentioned, you did a recent interview with We Love Mass Meditation, and you mentioned the benefits of being in water or near water or possibly on a mountaintop. Would you speak to why those are so powerful?
Okay, being near water is, if you are near water, near the ocean or near a lake or near a river, you will be able to transmit that energy of the portal directly throughout the planet because water is a very good transmitter of energy supply. Also, being on the top of a mountain creates a good connection with the sky, and then you are acting as a very effective transmitter for those energies as well.
Okay. Is it because of being in nature, or maybe this is a silly question, but with the concept of water, if someone doesn't have access to, let's say, a lake or an ocean or a river, would taking a bath have that same effect or at least help?
It would have some effect, but not the same. But I would say most people can get to a real natural body of water if they take a little bit of effort.
Okay. Okay. Good to keep in mind. Will the positive impact of this activation increase exponentially based on the number of people meditating at the exact moment on May 1st? Meaning that the more people that participate, the more positive and harmonious the results will be?
I would not say exponentially. It's a very complicated equation, but I would say more people we have, obviously, the more effect there will be.
Okay, good to know. So let's go for 1 million or more meditators on that day. Now, we recently did a booster meditation to help manifest critical mass on May 1st. Would it be beneficial for people to continue to do this booster meditation daily until the time of the activation on May 1st?
That is actually a good idea, and those who feel so guided can use that booster meditation to increase the numbers as well.
Okay. Was that booster successful?
Yes, it was very good. Actually, we noticed some spike in activity preparing for the meditation, for the main meditation, so it was quite effective.
Fantastic. You mentioned in your recent interview that using a Sintamani stone during the meditation is definitely the most powerful tool that you can use to ground and channel this energy. Does using more than one Sintamani stone magnify that energy even more? And will the galactic pulse on May 1st actually flow through our Sintamani stones?
Yes, of course, using more than one Sintamani stone does magnify the energy, and yes, the energy of the galactic pulse will flow directly through your Sintamani stones.
Beautiful. And you also mentioned in that interview that this energetic upgrade will begin to reactivate again the Lightworker grid on the surface of the planet. So when you say again, when was the last time the Lightworker grid was activated, and what effect could Lightworkers expect from this reactivation of the grid?
Yeah, the Lightworker grid was, I would say, partially activated in the last decade or so. Before it was almost completely destroyed or collapsed in the last few years because there was simply too much darkness, too many attacks, and the light workers were not willing or able to hold the light.
Yeah. And so what effect could light workers expect when this grid is reactivated?
There will be more light. People will begin to reconnect again. They will begin to hold the light again. They will begin to participate in light worker activities again. There will be, I would say, a renewed hope and a renewed activity.
Okay, good. You also said that much more contact between light workers and beings of light is expected. Are you referring to telepathic contact, increased intuition, or do you mean actual physical contact? And you also mentioned the opportunity for the underground kingdom of light, the Agartha network, and the resistance movement will have more influence on what's happening on the surface of the planet. What will that influence look like?
Yes, first there will be more, I would say, energetic and also telepathic contacts with beings of light. There will be more intuition. There will be visions, dreams, prophetic dreams. Even there will be a lot of inspiration, spiritual inspiration. I am not expecting much physical contact at this point yet, but I would say that underground beings of light will become more active. They will become more involved again in the surface operations. This is, of course, still classified at this point what they will do, but they are also preparing for this activation, and they are already participating in the initial activities, both below the surface and in some other locations as well.
Very good to hear. Let's talk about the astrology of this portal of light activation. Of key importance was the return of Pluto into Aquarius on March 23rd for the first time after more than 200 years, which opened this portal of light. Now, Pluto will reach its peak intensity on May 1st when it turns retrograde, a moment of stillness and no breath, which is when the meditation is scheduled and when the most powerful energies can enter. Then Pluto will slowly phase out until June 11th when it exits Aquarius and goes back into Capricorn until 2024, when it will then finally return to Aquarius to stay for the next 20 years. So this portal of light is now open from March 23rd to June 11th. So how can we make the most of these energies? what can we do collectively and individually during this time before the portal closes on June 11th?
Okay, this time is an opportunity for you to reconnect again with your higher self, with your I am presence, with your soul. This is number one. And number two, due to the positioning of Pluto making a very beautiful trine with the Pleiades, it is time for you, if you feel so guided, to connect with the Pleiadian energy as well.
Okay, good. Will the energies received during this activation period be strong enough to stay with us, or will they dissipate over the rest of the year when Pluto returns into the more challenging sign of Capricorn?
Okay, as the old saying goes, we make 2 steps forward and 1 step back. So there will be, I would say, a delay, regress. There will be a certain period when those energies need to be integrated, and this is expected to happen when Pluto returns back into Capricorn for the rest of the year. But this regress will not be so drastic because the activation itself will be quite strong, and a lot of this energy will be integrated. But this regress will actually be an opportunity for everybody to work on their shadows and prepare for the final push until the event.
Interesting. Yes, there is a lot of shadow work that people need to do at this point in clearing themselves. When Pluto comes back in 2024, will it really then kind of come in full force, after having gone back into Capricorn?
There is a short dip into Capricorn again at the end of I would say between September and November 2024, but it will be a very brief episode. But basically, yes, when Pluto enters Aquarius again in January 2024, it will be a big push forward towards the first contact and the event.
Okay, good. At the moment of the activation, as you mentioned, Pluto will make a rare exact grand trine with Alcyone, which is our local central sun in the Pleiades, and with the M87 galaxy, which is a major galaxy in the Virgo cluster. You have said that this grand trine is extremely powerful. It will be the trigger that will allow the energies from the galactic center to start flowing to our planet freely. Is this because it is an exact equilateral triangle, which is a sacred geometry shape? Is it powerful because this energy is flowing through a giant triangle?
Okay, if you look from the Earth, you could actually see a big triangle on the ecliptic projecting the energies of Pluto, Alcyone, and M87 galaxy. So actually there is a huge triangle which focuses on Earth. And this huge triangle has 3 very powerful cosmic sources, and those sources combine their energies into a huge energy flash which will come to us. Actually, they allow those 3 cosmic sources forming a triangle allow the portal to open and the source to send a flash through the universe that reaches the Earth at the optimal time to trigger the next phase. It's a demarcation point.
Thank you for explaining that. You've indicated that the M87 galaxy is a source of galactic love for this sector of the universe and will play an important role at the time of the event. Would you tell us more about the M87 galaxy? Like, how is it a source of galactic love? Is it inhabited? Does it have civilizations that are highly evolved? And if so, which dimension are they living?
Okay, I would say there is a huge galactic network of light and love in that galaxy, which is far more evolved than the galactic network in this galaxy. And the race inhabiting that galaxy is far more evolved than the galactic race in this galaxy. And I would say they are super evolved galactic cosmic beings. In Earth's terminology, I would say 11th dimension and beyond. They are super evolved cosmic beings of light and love.
Wow. Well, we are very blessed, grateful, and honored that they are connecting with us. So you said in your recent interview that the main energy blueprint of Pluto and Aquarius is expansion beyond the limits of the quarantine Earth, that there is a vast storage of spiritual knowledge and also physical abundance, which is connected to areas beyond the surface of the planet, and that Pluto in Aquarius will reconnect the surface of the planet with reservoirs of wisdom and abundance and spiritual inspiration. And we've seen this manifest in past history when Pluto was in Aquarius. So will the reconnection with wisdom, abundance, and spiritual inspiration start with this activation and then be ongoing? Or will we have to wait until 2024 when Pluto has almost fully moved into its 20-year position in Aquarius?
As I said, this is a demarcation point, so the trigger will be released. The process will start, and it will be ongoing. It will have its setbacks later, but there will be also a huge amount of forward movement. And the 20-year period is the period when all the changes we have been waiting for have to manifest. I would say in the very early part of the 20-year period in Aquarius, this is when we are expecting, in our understanding, we are expecting those big changes to happen.
Okay. Now, the energy of Pluto is more focused and much more direct than other planets, with qualities like destroyer and revealer, bringing everything that was suppressed to the surface. And as we are aware, disclosure and planetary liberation are taking much longer than expected. Do we need this more direct energy of Pluto to move the planetary situation out of the stuck place that we are in, and how might that show up?
Okay, this is exactly what is happening. Energy of Pluto is very laser-like, very direct, uncompromising, and this is exactly what will break this stalemate position on the planet. It will break this halting pattern. And when Pluto energy comes, it is very sudden, very unexpected, and very direct.
Stalemate is the perfect word to describe the situation we're in now. So, well, we welcome Pluto, the energy of Pluto, to make this movement that we're waiting for. Now, it seems like each planet has unique qualities, even like a personality. Are planets living beings because an entity of light has embodied them? Are these beings highly evolved since they chose to incarnate in the physical as a planet?
Actually, every planet is, I would say the physical planet is the physical body of a very highly evolved entity which is ensouling that particular planet, and those are very evolved beings.
Okay. What about our beloved Earth, goddess Gaia Sophia? Did she choose to embody planet Earth knowing that it would be the last stronghold for evil in the universe? How is she able to withstand and transmute all the negative energy here and the abuse that's been done to her? What can you tell us about her?
It was not known that it will be the last stronghold for evil in the universe, and it takes an enormous amount of patience for her to maintain the planetary surface without any cataclysms. She's withholding the cataclysms for the right moment for everything to be cleared out completely. Otherwise, we would have drastic cataclysms decades ago.
Wow. Well, I hope we take time daily to honor her and thank her for everything she's doing for us. So, you've indicated that this activation is occurring because time is running out. Would you elaborate what you mean by time running out? Does it have to do with the highly accelerated nefarious plans that the Dark Ones have for humanity? Does it have to do with being close to the boiling point in the nucleation phase of the compression breakthrough, or with the polar shift that is in our future?
Okay, I would say this time is running out because certain cosmic cycles are converging, and everything needs to be resolved until a certain point of time. That certain point of time, of course, is classified. It's not known to the surface population, but there is a certain point until which this has to be resolved one way or the other, and it will be resolved one way or the other. So things are accelerating because they are converging into that particular time point.
Okay. Can you tell us which position we are in like how close are we to this boiling point in the nucleation phase?
In this diagram, which was shown on my website, we are in the last phase before the big thermal transition. So the thermal flux is increasing more and more, and the moment of maximum thermal flux we will have the end.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So we are continuing to move closer to that point.
Yeah.
Hopefully. Even though it's not pleasant to discuss the nefarious plans of the dark ones, I'd like to spend a few minutes doing so because this topic is on everyone's mind, especially with everything going on in the last few years and situations escalating. So the plans that the dark ones have for us is quite a long list, unfortunately, including things like global war, even more dangerous pandemics, poisoned food, water, air, including injecting mRNA to our food, food shortages, a hard financial crash, hyperinflation, digital currency surveillance that tracks our every move, 15-minute cities, fake alien invasion, energy weapon attacks, cyber attacks, and more to create hardship, strife, and hopelessness. It is a very long list. So to emphasize the importance of reaching critical mass for this May 1st meditation, I would like to ask you what we might expect regarding these plans and which ones might manifest if we do not reach critical mass, and also how these plans could weaken or deter if we do reach critical mass. So please elaborate.
Okay, it is expected that the possibility of many of those plans will drop to zero as we reach the point of that portal. So some of them are already quite improbable and their probability will drop to zero. If we reach the critical mass, we will reduce more and more of those plans to zero. If we don't reach the critical mass, some of those plans will still be probable to a certain degree. But I would say the progress we're making is good. So many of those plans are not realistic anymore. For example, the plan of fake alien invasion, this is not going to happen. It's impossible. It's already impossible.
Okay, good. Well, again, more motivation to participate in the May 1st meditation. So, critical mass is essential, it sounds like. I understand that at your recent conference in Taiwan, you mentioned that the dark forces have pretty much exhausted all their resources to try to keep the pandemic and the COVID quarantine in place for the last 3 years, and therefore they don't have a lot of resources left. You indicated that at this point, one of the very few things that they have up their sleeves is to potentially crash the financial system, but there's not much else that they can do. Would you speak more about this? Could this crash happen even if critical mass is reached?
Okay, this hard financial crash is still possible. Their plan is to introduce central banking digital currencies as a result of that crash, which they would engineer. But I would also say that the light forces have their own plans, and if they do something like this, the light forces could create a surprise. And if you reach the critical mass, that surprise is much more likely. So I would say this is one of the more probable plans of the dark, which has not been cleared out yet completely. The light forces are doing whatever possible to drop that possibility to zero.
Good. Okay. Well, we look forward to what that surprise might be. So light workers are needed to hold as much light as possible during these intense times, yet worry and fear of the unknown about our future can truly lower that vibration. And this worry especially applies to their finances, wondering if they'll be able to keep a roof over their head or food on the table. Should this negative financial crash happen, could people lose money in their bank accounts? And what are the recommendations of light forces regarding where to keep the money that we have? Is it in alternate options like precious metals or cryptocurrency? And what is your advice about Bitcoin and Ripple?
Okay, if the dark forces engineer a hard financial crash, the banks would be closed, and then when the digital currencies would be introduced, you could probably keep most or even all of the money that you previously had in your bank account, but it would be digital and it will be surveilled by the dark. So it would be advisable to at least to convert some of that money into silver or gold, precious metals. Cryptocurrency, use your own inner guidance. I cannot say anything more about that.
Okay, thank you for sharing that with us. Can you tell us how likely it is that a CBDC system will be put in place and how soon that could happen? Things we'd like to know, like how long would we have to deal with the tyranny of the CBDC system before a positive financial system kicks in? Could the positive quantum financial system kick in prior to the event if the May 1st meditation is successful? And could the meditation prevent the CBDC from being implemented? We appreciate any insight you can offer on this topic.
Okay, there will definitely be attempts for this system to be introduced, but this meditation will decrease that possibility. The portal itself will also decrease that possibility. And as I said, there are many positive surprises possible at each stage of the process. So the situation is not so one-sided that many people would like to portray. And in the long run, this CBDC system will not be successful. It will not succeed.
Okay, good to hear. Being able to prepare for what's ahead can help people reduce worry, fear, and anxiety. So what can you suggest to us on how to prepare both physically and energetically to withstand whatever nefarious plans or chaos does manifest?
Very simply, connect with your higher self, with your I am presence, with your soul.
Okay. So stay in that place of connection. Thank you. This question concerns specifically the financial struggles that many light workers face. You've taught us in the past the techniques of manifestation, intention, invocation, and action. However, it seems like many light workers, especially those battling on the front lines, experience an unnatural amount of interference from the dark when attempting to manifest better lives for themselves. Many of these light workers have selflessly worked for years in service of the light without receiving any rewards or compensation for their efforts. And instead of their lives getting better, it seems the more they give and the more they work for the light, the worse their lives get in all aspects, such as finances and health, etc. Some light workers find themselves currently in financial dire straits and are even struggling to find a decent place to live. Under such conditions, many light workers find it increasingly difficult to stay motivated and continue with their work. So besides the manifestation technique of intention, invocation, action, are there any other concrete measures that light workers can take to reduce dark interference in their manifesting process?
Okay, the key here would be to have balance between the work for the light and work for your own well-being. So if this is kept in balance, and if you continue doing the manifestation process, there should be results. Also, unfortunately, we are in the last phases of this galactic war, and it is really fierce. It is brutal. It is quite drastic, and many people have experienced quite drastic attacks and quite serious setbacks in their life situations in the last few years as a result of all the dark attacks. It is expected that those situations can begin slowly to resolve after we open the portal.
Okay, good. Yeah. I mean, after this portal opening on May 1st, what concrete steps are the light forces planning to take to significantly enhance the quality of life for light workers? What are some specific improvements that light workers might expect to see in their day-to-day lives?
Okay, there is a certain specific protocol which is being beta tested now and is expected to become quite effective after May 1st. And when I have some concrete information about this that I can release, I will release it.
We very much look forward to hearing that. What are the implications for light workers when Dreamland reaches 1.0, and how can they participate already? Is it in operation in any capacity yet?
All that is classified information at this point.
Okay, thank you. Now, you haven't yet disclosed anything about Dream Space. Can you share anything about that, and is it related to Dreamland?
This is also classified information.
Okay, thank you. So, as we just talked about these attacks, in the past couple of years, some of these attacks have been drastically ramping up against light workers, especially targeting their physical health. Some light workers who have been following your intel for many years and who have been diligently going about their missions have fallen severely ill or suffered from injuries that have left them incapacitated and physically unable to continue with their missions. These are light workers who regularly shield and protect. They invoke Command 1221 multiple times a day and lead otherwise healthy lives. So besides using the violet flame and invoking the Pleiadian command protocols, what other concrete measures can light workers take to protect their health? Also, for those whose health have been severely compromised through dark attacks, what is the best way for these light workers to recover and get back on their feet?
Again, as I have said before, the key here is balance between work for the mission and work towards healing yourself and making your life better. And one of the other situations that need to be resolved is those attacks need to get less and less. And when the darkness really begins to lose power on the surface of the planet, those situations will begin to resolve, will begin to heal.
Okay, so there's a balance between like giving to the light and also giving to yourself, self-care.
Yes.
Yes. What about the more frequent occurrences of depression, anxiety, sleep disturbances, insomnia, and even nightmares people are experiencing? Are these energetic attacks a result of the current cleansing by the light forces of the black holes and anomalies? Or what is causing this? And is there anything more you can tell us to do to lessen these conditions?
This is a direct result of the purification of the darkness, especially on the etheric plane right now. All those entities, dark technologies, all that is being cleared, and this is quite intense. And of course, do your own protection techniques and focus upon the light. And it is expected that those things will get better at some point where we will be able to protect ourselves more and when light can begin to fully enter on the etheric plane.
Right. And I know it's probably something obvious, but I just would like to point out the importance of doing daily protection protocols, especially if you are an active light worker. So, Cobra, if the May 1st meditation is successful, will it be easier for the light forces to remove our implants? And will it be easier for us to help remove them also? You know, we do exercises that help people to dissolve the implants. Will this be easier after the May 1st meditation?
Yes, that is expected.
Good. And at the Paris conference, you stated at the time that the goddess energy on the planet was very, very low, like zero. Has this improved since that conference, and especially now after the recent Taiwan conference?
It has improved since the last Taiwan conference to a degree, but much, much more improvement is necessary.
Yes, agreed. Is there a threshold amount of divine feminine energy needed that will finally turn the tide to potentially trigger the event?
There is no specific threshold amount of divine feminine energy required for the event. It just determines how harmonious or how hard the transition will be. Of course, with more divine feminine energy present, the transition will be more harmonious. With the amount we have now, the event itself will be quite a shocking and quite drastic experience for most people on the surface of this planet.
Okay, more motivation to get involved with Sisterhood of the Rose and also doing your own inner work to call in more and anchor more divine feminine goddess energy. So, absolutely. You indicated that if the Lightworker energy grid will be reactivated, that there will be a rebirth of goddess energy and the feminine principle will begin to flow more freely. And all that can happen if critical mass is reached. How will this visibly show up on the planet and with humanity?
This can show up as more hope, more inspiration, more peace, more balance, less madness, and less violence on the planet.
Okay, very good. In other words, making the transition much easier. So, in the meantime, what can Sisterhood of the Rose and others who are dedicated to anchoring more energy do to assist this?
Okay, at this point, the most important thing is to assist in spreading the word about the portal of light and participate fully. This is just a 20-minute meditation, and I would believe that this is not something overly difficult to do, to take 20 minutes of your time and dedicate it to this, and this can potentially change a lot on this planet. So I would encourage everybody to spread the word and to dedicate some time to meditate on that day.
Absolutely. And again, this Portal of Light activation meditation takes place on May 1st. at 5:06 p.m. UTC. And so you can find more information about this meditation on Cobra's blog at 2012portal.blogspot.com, as well as on the welovemassmeditation.com website. So, awesome, Cobra. Thank you for sharing that. In our part 2 of the interview next month, we are going to be speaking about the results of this activation. Hopefully there's some very good news around this. We'll also be speaking a lot more about goddess energy, twin souls, ascension, the event, and much more. So we look forward to connecting with you again for that. So Cobra, as we end part 1 of this interview, would you please share some words of inspiration and encouragement, and if there's anything else you'd like to say about the upcoming activation?
Okay, I would say that the last few years were quite boring. There was not much going on. It was just a lot of same old, same old. But now we are finally getting to a more interesting part of our evolutionary process. So I would say hold the light, dedicate some time to spread the word about this activation and the victory of the light.
Yes, victory of the light. Cobra, thank you so much for doing this interview, for guiding us and continuing to hold the light for humanity. We appreciate you very much and look forward to talking to you again in part 2. So thank you so much. I'd also like to thank the Sisterhood of the Rose and Victory of the Light teams who contributed questions and helped with support of this interview. I thank you all so much. Thank you again, Cobra, Victory of the Light.
Thank you, Victory of the Light.